Hey y'all, welcome back to Am's in Progress. My name's Amber and today we have freezer meal prep. So grab some comfy clothes, your printouts, and some labeled baggies, and let's get to work. If you've been here, you know I've been looking for some healthier freezer meals, stuff that I can throw together one day a week and then have stuff to eat throughout the week on when I'm working or we got holidays coming up. I know you're busy. You got a lot going on. And if you can just throw something in the crock pot and leave for the day, it's gonna make your evening go that much smoother. It's gonna help you stay on track with lower point ideas. So I have 6 recipes that we're gonna meal prep. I have not tried these yet. We will experience them together if you wanna try them. They range in points from 1 point up to 9 points. They're also a mixture of chicken, pork, and beef. So let's give these a try. I found this person. It is thefamilyfreezer.com. All of these recipes are coming from her. She has like classes that she'll do. You can go follow her on YouTube as well. So basically I just watched the class. It was like an hour-long video of her putting these things together. You can go down to the description and she will put a link. Like if you want these 10 meals, sign up here and you just put in your information and it'll take you off. She'll send you the meals. And so I went through several of those classes to find some that look good. You can just pick one class. She'll send you 10 meals and you can make all of them. She makes it really easy with grocery lists. And she even puts together these little labels, which you can print up on like shipping labels and put on here as a sticker, which I love because I love organization. Or you can do what I do, and I just perused many of them and picked a few that I wanted to try from each one. So I have 3 different ones, 3 different packages, classes that I pulled from to get this list of meals. So in the description box, if you're on WW, there's a link that will take you straight over to the recipe in WW with the points that you can then bookmark. I'm gonna show a tutorial here when I get done talking, just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about and what it's gonna do. But I also linked where you can sign up for these different meal plans. Okay, whatever they're called. Where, like I said, she'll send you different ones. So this one is from like a baby one, like a postpartum, whatever that it came from. So that one's linked below. And then I have 2 from an Instant Pot one that I pulled that is linked below. And then 3 from like clean eating that she did. So like I said, if you are not on WW, go to the link. You'll have to put in your name and information, and she will email them to you. I've been doing this for the last few weeks. So I've watched a lot of her videos and I've signed up for a lot of these free printables. So I find them very useful. So I'm not gonna write out the recipes because these are her recipes. So if you're not on WW, you'll have to go sign up for that link. If you're on WW, the recipe's there. It'll have like the instructions and everything too. Also like that they give you slow cooker and Instant Pot recipes for most of these. So that is awesome. That was a really long-winded way of saying let's throw together these meals. The whole point is you throw everything into a bag raw. So the meat isn't cooked, the veggies aren't cooked, the rice, whatever you're adding in here is not cooked. It all goes in here raw, gets frozen, and then each day I will pull out a baggie, throw it in my crock pot and follow directions, or in my Instant Pot, depending on how much time I have that day. So, like I said, she gives you these little labels. Because I wasn't doing the whole class or like all 10 recipes that she had bundled together, I just screenshot each one of these that I wanted to do and then use like the Avery templates to make these. And I just added a picture of the screenshot I took to each individual label to get my variety of labels. I really appreciate the labels because number one, I'm a nerd when it comes to organizing. So yes, please. But also, let me find one. It gives you the instructions on here as well as the ingredient list. But then some of them, like this one. This is a soup. You're not supposed to add the broth until the day of. And then so it tells you to add, you need to go ahead and add the broth and how much broth is on the bag so you know, plus the cooking instructions for crock pot and Instant Pot. So anyway, just super, super helpful. Just in case you're interested, we have Korean barbecue chicken, Habachi noodles, honey garlic beef with sugar snap peas, maple barbecue ribs. I'm substituting pork loin for the pork ribs, chicken and wild rice soup, and a chicken and artichoke marinade. Let's get to it. I wanted to show you how to click on this link that will be in your description box, and it will take you over to the Freezer Meals website, where you're going to scroll down and then click send me the freebie. This will allow you to add your name and your email address, and she will email you the whole printable with all the goodies attached. I do recommend doing this, even if you are on WW. Now on how to use the WW link. That again is in your description box. You're going to click on the WW link for whatever recipe you want. It's going to open your app, and you're going to bookmark it by hitting that little bookmark on the top of the page. This is going to move it to your saved foods list. To find this list later, you're just going to open your home screen, and then you're going to hit the what to eat, I think is what it's called, this little knife and fork down the bottom of the screen. Then you're going to hit recipes, and then you're going to click saved recipes. This is going to bring all your saved recipes up, and it will be on the top of your list, like by order as you saved it. So you can have this for later whenever you're ready to cook it. First up is the Korean barbecue chicken. This is 1 point for the meal that's going in the crock pot. To it, I will add some rice for however many points. You'll have to add that separately. But 1 point for this Korean barbecue chicken, and it sounds real good. I have these bags from Amazon. It was like $8 for 2 of them. If I really like these meals and want to make more of them, I might buy a bigger set. That way I can have a whole bunch of them lined up in a row as I'm doing stuff. Because if you watch the family freezer make hers, she does all the meat at the end. That way she's not contaminating a bunch of like workspace and only having to cut stuff off once. So I think that's a really cool idea. I'd like to do that, but I only have 2 of these. So the technique is going to be, again, everything goes in here raw, but we're going to throw the stuff that you need for the sauces first, then the vegetables, and then the protein goes in last. That way, whenever you go to dump it, that sauce gets poured all over. Like your protein will then be on the bottom of your crock pot, then your veggies, and then the sauce will pour all over it. So that's what we're gonna do here. Since this is the Korean barbecue chicken, like I said, I'm gonna do, it needs 2 pounds of chicken that I'm gonna do later. For convenience sake, I bought frozen onions as well as a bottle of minced ginger, and I have this kind of garlic that just stays in your fridge. So we're going to use these for convenience since we're doing a whole bunch of meals. And then I'm going to be reusing all of my different measuring cups for all the meals. If it's something like soy sauce that I put in here, I can rinse it out. But then we don't have a whole bunch of piled up dishes at the end. You can do this however you want. If you want to prep all your veggies, or if you want to do it meal by meal. I don't want to put a bunch of stuff in bowls because that kind of defeats the purpose. I want this to be as low dishes as possible. So I'm just going to cut it here and put it straight into my bag. So first I'm going to need a tablespoon of ginger. I just opened this for convenience sake. It smells good. It smells probably as close as you can get to the fresh stuff as possible. All right, then I need a cup of diced onion. Like I said, I'm going to use the frozen one for convenience. I do have actual diced onions as well. I might do a combination of the both. We'll see. About 1 cup is about 1 onion. So, and that goes. I need 1/4 of a cup of soy sauce. My gluten-free sauces were on sale at my grocery store. So that's what I picked up because it was like $1.50 versus $3-something. So I don't think it'll affect the taste at all. I already had this one on hand because I used to be gluten-free. So I already know I like the taste of it. So I just went ahead and did it. So you'll see gluten-free on my teriyaki sauce and stuff for later. You don't have to do gluten-free. It's just what was on sale. And the whole point of doing this is to save time and money. So I went with the sale item. I'm just going to use 1/4 of a cup here. Now it says the juice of 1 lemon or 1/4 of a cup. When I was doing this, I just looked at the 1 lemon. I didn't see the 1/4 of a cup. I don't know what on earth kind of lemon she has that produces 1/4 of a cup of juice, but we're just going to do the 1 lemon because that's all I bought. I realize you can't really see what I'm doing all that well. It's like, how do you see inside the bag and on my chopping board when I have cabinets above your head that you can't even see? All right, so in the lemon goes, and then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of, it says light brown sugar. Anytime a recipe calls for brown sugar, I substitute it with this Swerve. This is a brown sugar substitute for 0 points. You can use brown sugar if you want. This is expensive, so it might just be worth to take the points for the brown sugar. I already have this. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna compact it for a little too much. Get out of there. Get out. We need 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. If you end up choosing to sign up for the recipes, like for her to send them to you, they do come with macros and stuff. So if you're not on WW and you're tracking calories and macros, that information is available to you through that downloadable link. That sesame oil always smells so good. Now we're gonna use 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red peppers. We're also gonna take 16 ounces of coleslaw mixture, basically just cabbage and carrots. Gonna add that in. And then we also need 2 pounds of chicken, which I'm gonna prep on a different cutting board and then have to wash my hands, do that whole thing since I don't have enough of these to do multiple in a row. What I decided to do is prep all the meat behind me and it's all ready to go. All I have to do is add my tongs to add it into each individual thing. That way we're ready as each meal comes. I need 2 pounds of chicken. I do not need to worry about cross-contamination if I touch chickens with the tongs and then I go to beef, because all of this is going to be cooked above that 165 degrees. That's why we cook chicken to 165 degrees. So it kills any of the bacteria that would be growing. All of these will be cooked past that. Therefore, any kind of cross-contamination you might possibly have on those tongs, it's not going to last. It's going to be killed as it's cooked. But if it really freaks you out, then wash your stuff. But we normally have to worry about that when you have like steak that you're only going to cook to like 100, say you want it, you know, medium rare, or you're only cooking it to 145 degrees. That's not enough heat or temperature to make sure all that bacteria is dead. That's why you don't want cross-contamination. But since these will all be cooked, it's fine. All right, I'll just try to get as much air out as possible. I'm gonna lay it flat and smush it to where it's as flat as I can get it. But we want as little air in here as possible. Now what I'm going to do is, as I get my baggies done, I'm going to load them on here. So it'll be 3 high, 2 wide, and I can just throw this whole thing in my freezer until they're frozen solid, and then I can stack these, do whatever I want once they have that shape of being flat. Now we have hibachi noodles. I'm making this mainly because I think my daughter will like it. She really likes chow mein. The noodle portion itself is 7 points. With this, I'm going to have chicken that is 0 points. I'm just gonna add salt, pepper, maybe a spray of some avocado oil, and just cook it on the pan real fast. I'm gonna eat this with some broccoli that has just been steamed and an egg roll that I found from my freezer section. Here's what it looks like. These are 5 points for the egg rolls. I'm gonna cook this in the air fryer. So for a giant plate of food that feels like takeout, it's gonna be 12 points. You obviously don't have to do the egg roll. If you just did the chicken and broccoli with the hibachi noodles, you're looking at 7 points, and that's a really low meal. But because egg rolls, I don't need to say anything else about that, egg rolls. Now this meal, I'm actually just gonna throw into a quart-sized bag because I'm making it tonight, and yeah, I don't need to freeze it. It's gonna be happening real soon. But since I'm already have all the things out, all the containers and tablespoons and everything already dirty, let's just dirty it all at once and prep this. So I'm just gonna do it in a tiny little bag like this because I'm not gonna add the noodles or the water to this. I'm just gonna add the sauces and stuff. And then tonight when I'm ready to do it, I'm gonna throw this in the Instant Pot. Again, I'm only gonna do the sauce mix because I'm going to use the water and the pasta tonight when I make it. So first I need a green onion. I've washed all my produce and it's sitting to the side drying. I'm just gonna do this whole green onion. Actually, I should have went ahead and did that to 2 of them. So I'll do the other one now because I want to top mine with this as well tonight when I eat it. And the less work I have to do tonight, the better. I don't like topping with the whites. I only like topping with the greens. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw those whites into my bag. It's not gonna hurt to have a little extra onion. And I'll chop up these, and this will be for tonight to top. If you knew you're going to have this in the next few days, you could do this as well and just keep this in the fridge for a few days. If it's gonna be a month, obviously this is not gonna last. I need a teaspoon of the ginger, so I'm just, again, gonna use that bottled one. I also need a teaspoon of garlic. I'm using the pre-minced stuff. I have an extra one of these in my pantry if I end up running out. Gonna do another 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Another meaning we just did it in our last recipe. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons of teriyaki. Again, I got the gluten-free because it was on sale. This doesn't have a lot of points or whatever to it, so I might even use a little bit of it tonight when I'm cooking up my chicken. That's 3 tablespoons. All right, y'all have no idea how much y'all saw of this hibachi noodle because my phone died. Didn't realize it. So in here I have 1 green onion, a teaspoon of ginger, a teaspoon of garlic, a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, 2 tablespoons of mirin. I have 2 tablespoons of butter. I've substituted butter for this light butter just to save some points. And now I need half a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna do a little rounded one because on a lot of her, she uses table salt and I use kosher salt, which is not as salty. So this is all we need for now. And I can just throw this in there. I could have put this in a mason jar, but I like the fact that the label had instructions. So later tonight, I'll throw this in an Instant Pot with my noodles and 3.5 cups of water. I will show you that since I'm eating it tonight. You can see that maybe here. Maybe I'll put it here. How about that? I'm starting out by adding my pasta to my Instant Pot. I'm using this Protein Plus spaghetti. I like the points. I like the macros. I'm breaking it in half just so it fits easily and adding that to the bottom. Then I'm going to add my sauce packet and dumping that whole thing in there. Now some of the green onions and stuff got caught in the bag, so I used that 3.5 cups of water that I needed and put some of it in the bag just to help kind of rinse it out and get all the remnants out of my bag, and then added the remaining of the water that I needed to cover up all my noodles. So you'll see me push down a few of the noodles with my finger just because you want all the noodles submerged. Then you add your lid to sealing, and then we're going to manually cook this for 5 minutes. Once those 5 minutes are up, you're going to manually release all the pressure. And then I used this little spoon with teeth. I don't know what it's called, my little pasta spoon, to help break apart the spaghetti because it did clump together. I also used a fork just to help break everything apart. Once they were separated, it was really good and it looks like normal noodles, but you'll just take a little bit of work to fluff your noodles. Bonus time. So I'm gonna make the hibachi noodles tonight. I have chicken breast that I cut in half here. This is what I'm going to cook. And we're just gonna let this marinate since we already have the other stuff in there. This is not a recipe. This is just me throwing stuff in a bag. So I have about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Let's add about a tablespoon of teriyaki, about a teaspoon of sesame oil, and then about a teaspoon of garlic and ginger. We're just gonna let this kind of marinate in the fridge, and we will just pan cook this in a non-stick skillet later. All right, marinated chicken, boom. That chicken actually turned out delicious, so I'm really happy I recorded it. This is a huge plate of food for 12 points. Let's give this pasta a try. My daughter was being really loud on the phone with her cousin, so
That's why you're getting a voiceover. I was trying to get a nice delicate bite, and I just said, screw it. We're going full mode, full engagement mode on the bite there since it won't break apart. And it's really good. I really do like the addition of that green onion on top. It adds a fresh brightness that you need with all those like heavier soy sauce stuff. And then that chicken paired so well with the noodles. I ended up eating like a piece of chicken with the noodle on each bite and was really, really happy with it. I air fried my broccoli for 15 minutes on 380 with just some sprayed oil and a little salt and pepper. I used this sweet chili sauce for 0 points to dip my egg roll in, and my husband also used it on the rest of his food, like his chicken and his pasta. Egg rolls are so good.
I definitely think it's worth the 5 points and maybe even 9 points for 2 of them.
So this meal will definitely be happening again in my house. I'm hiding in my bedroom. My daughter's out there making all sorts of ruckus. So the hibachi noodles are good. It's not chow mein. It basically just tastes like soy flavored noodles, but it's good, especially with the chicken and broccoli and egg roll. I like it. We'll see. I'll let you know what my husband thinks when he gets home. I did top it with sesame seeds and green onions. And one thing I really like about the freezer meal situation is it was a nightmare whenever I was doing it with like how crowded everything was and like all the measuring cups were everywhere, and it was a little stressful that way. But once I cleaned it up, like I don't have to get those things out for like 2 weeks. It's like I'm loaded up the dishwasher one time and it's all done. And I love that feeling. Just the ease of it. The hardest thing I'll have to do between now and, cooking for Thanksgiving is making some rice. Everything else is like warming up bread or something really simple. So big fan of that. A few of the recipes need rice. Well, we'll probably end up doing is just making a really big pot of rice and then just scooping out of that through the week. So, so far, really pleased with this decision. My husband is notorious for asking me not to make Asian food because I'm not that great at it, not gonna lie. So I was a little nervous to tell him we were having hibachi noodles. So let's see if he thinks it's a good recipe.
Yeah, they're really good. This is a good meal. Yeah, it's been kind of hit and miss when it comes to the Oriental style foods, unless you got it through HelloFresh or Panda Express. So it's like both of those options are great. Sometimes the do-it-yourself options are not so great. So
not when I do it.
I would say I would be happy to eat this again. Very, very
Sweet.
good.
So, okay, y'all, that's a big win. And he did apologize for not having a shirt on. He did not know he's going to be
I'm
on.
OnlyFans.
Oh, gosh.
Next up is the honey garlic beef with sugar snap peas. This is going to be the same link as the hibachi noodles. It's in the same little booklet of recipes. This meal is 8 points. It's got beef, a sauce, and snap peas. You can add it with rice or cauliflower rice or however you want as a side. So 8 points for just the beef and the snap peas. If you want rice, that's going to be extra points on the side. For something like this, all these recipes are 6 servings. So for me and my husband, that will feed me, him, and my daughter for dinner. And then the next day, it'll be enough for me and my husband to have lunch. So something like this, where I don't really like to spend, say 12 points because of this is 8. And if I had 5 points of rice, I don't like to spend that much points for lunch. So instead, what I'm going to do is take this 8 points, throw it into a tortilla wrap that is 1 point, and turn it into a wrap and have an easier thing to eat out at work. So I can just microwave the beef and the snap peas and stuff, and then toss it in a tortilla and eat it. So that's my plan for the day 2. We've got our honey garlic beef with snap peas. So I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I did a variety. There's a lot of Asian like back to back, but there's a variety of different types. These just sounded good, if I'm being honest. Then I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of honey. One reason I gravitated to the family freezer recipes instead of something like the Six Sisters stuff, which I do like,
is because she uses healthier ingredients for the most part. There's not a bunch of condensed soups and things like that. So when she does do sugar, a lot of times it is maple syrup or honey, which is, more natural ones, which if you're fighting inflammation and stuff, I really like. At the end of the day, your body's still gonna recognize it as sugar, but I do like the whole ingredients, the lack of processed foods. There's a lot more vegetables and stuff in her recipes. So I just thought it was gonna be a good thing to try, especially for Weight Watchers. Honey is really, really high in points, but because I'm using 0 point foods, it's like I'd rather count the points for the honey than use something that's like sugar-free, kind of fake stuff when I can. All right, now we're also gonna do 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. If you've never had sesame oil, it really does just add an amazing flavor to all these dishes. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I'm gonna use sugar-free. Just using the old Heinz sugar-free. And we grab our teaspoon. So now I need a teaspoon of garlic powder. Teaspoon of onion powder. About a teaspoon of kosher salt. A 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper and red pepper flakes. Now we need our sirloin tip roast. I have trimmed this meat really, really well. I have cut all the fat that I can get off of it off. If you're doing this in the Instant Pot, you need to slice this first because it's gonna cook a lot faster. But I'm gonna do mine in the crock pot, so I'm gonna leave it whole and I'll just shred it. I like the texture of shredded meat. Now on the day of, after this is cooked for a really long time, we will add our snap peas to the crock pot the last 30 to 60 minutes. I already have that here at the house. So when I'm ready to go, it's already here. I don't have to worry about not having the ingredients, but I don't need to put it in here yet. All right, another one bites the dust.
All right, we have barbecue maple pork. If you're cooking it the way I'm doing it, you can use the boneless pork ribs if you can find them. My store did not have them. And I'm like, you know what? I'd want to save the points anyways. Pork is high enough if you get lean pork. So I'm just going to substitute for pork loin and have some like barbecue pork loin. Still sounds delicious. So for this pork meal is 9 points just for the pork. This is because it has tomato paste, maple syrup, and pork. So it's just a higher point protein. Now, when I do higher point proteins like this, I like to pair them with 0 point foods. So on the side, I'm going to have corn and whatever frozen veggie I have in the freezer. Sometimes that's like the Normandy blend where it has carrots, broccoli, cauliflower. Sometimes it's just cauliflower. Whatever I choose, I'm gonna throw in the air fryer, just spray it with some oil, salt, and pepper, throw in the air fryer, cook about 15 minutes on 380. And then I have a delicious side of veggies that are 0 points. So this whole dinner will be 9 points. All of those points coming from the protein. The next one is the barbecue maple pork. And I wrote on this label just so you can see, you don't have to print it out. I just really like the way it looks when you do. It does my little OCD heart good. So feel free to write on your labels if you don't want to go buy shipping labels. But it looks so darn good with those shipping labels. All right, now we have our barbecued pork. So I'm gonna need 6 ounces of tomato paste. I bought a 12-ounce one because I need this twice. It was cheaper to do it this way. So I'm just gonna use half of this can. I'll put this aside for the other recipe. Now we need a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. This is where a good amount of the points are at, but again, I do think it's worth it. You can use sugar-free if you wanna give it a try. But I'd rather just use 0 point veggies. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And then while my phone was charging, I did the seasonings. So I have 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of curry powder, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and about 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And now all we need is 2 pounds of meat. So each of these little
pork loins. I have trimmed all the fat off, and each one is about 1 pound. And that's it. Again, I'm gonna make this with 0-point corn and veggies. Just kind of like roll it, get as much of the air out as possible. On to the next.
So that last meal, the maple barbecue, is the same principle that this wild rice soup and the next recipe are on. It's one link for 3 different recipes, because like I said, you'll get it in a booklet of all the recipes. So this one is going to be chicken and wild rice soup, and it's 1 point per serving. Don't we love that? I might even, depending on how much of this is left over, let my husband take more of the beef and higher point stuff for, like, so maybe he does 2 days worth of lunches and I get to take both of these servings of this for lunch. So I have lower point lunches, because 1 point, yeah, that'll make lunch real convenient and easy. Because this is so low points, when I have it for dinner, I'm also gonna have a piece of garlic toast for 5 points. So that'll make my dinner 6 points, but if I take it to lunch, it'll just be the 1 point for the soup, which I love. All right, let's make it.
So for this, like I said, my phone died, so I went ahead and pre-measured and pre-chopped my veggies and my seasonings and stuff, so I wasn't just sitting here doing nothing. I have a cup of onion, which is about 1 onion, 2 ribs of celery, and 1 pound of carrots that I have peeled and diced. I didn't think about how I was gonna put them in the bag. I'm gonna grab this big wide bowl. To that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of minced garlic, which I'm getting real low on the bottom of my little thing here. I might have to go open the other one. Then we need a 1/4 cup of wild rice, and this is going in there uncooked. That's another thing I like about the family freezer, is she does everything raw. So a lot of the other recipes you'll see from other people, you have to brown meat and stuff before you throw them in the bag. This way, you just throw everything in raw, and it saves a lot of time while you're prepping the meals. Now we have our seasonings that I went ahead and weighed out. So this is a teaspoon of basil, a 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. I need 1 pound of chicken. That is it for in the bag. Now on the day of, we'll also need 4 cups of chicken broth. But I don't need that in the bag. All it's gonna do is make this one giant block. That's really hard to cook. So instead, I went ahead and bought the chicken broth, and I wrote on it that it's for this rice, so that I know if I go in there, I'm like, look, I have chicken broth. I don't need to buy any. Nope, this one's spoken for. Do not use this for anything other than this soup. Sometimes I gotta be a little bossy with myself, because I'll forget. All right, only 1 more left to go.
Last but not least, hopefully, I don't know, I haven't tried it yet, is the chicken and artichoke marinara. This is 2 points per serving. Again, all of these come with 6 servings, but this is just for the chicken and marinara. You'll have to add it to something. So if you want something 0 points, you could always do the heart of palm pasta. You could do spaghetti squash. Or if you're like me, it's 2 points. I'm gonna have pasta. I'll have 2 ounces of this Barilla Protein Plus pasta. For 2 ounces of dried pasta is 5 points. So 7 points for this. I'll see how hungry I am. This does have a bunch of tomato sauce as well as artichoke hearts in it. So it might be enough food that I'm not hungry, but if I am still hungry, then I'll add some steamed veggies on the side. So I'll just let my hunger decide for that for me. But it's a 7-point dinner either way, whether I have veggies with it or not.
While my phone was charging, I cut up a red bell pepper, and it's down the bottom. I give it a rough chop, and I threw in the last of that bag of frozen onion. So we used 1 bag of frozen onion for all of these recipes. I also accidentally threw my crushed red pepper flakes, which is 1/2 teaspoon in there instead of in here with the rest of the seasonings. We also have a tablespoon of basil and then a teaspoon of sea salt, kosher salt. I need 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, which I just opened my other one. We need the other half of that tomato paste, so 6 ounces. We need a can of artichoke hearts that I have drained. 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. I got the ones that had basil in it, just for some extra flavor. We're also gonna do a tablespoon of honey. A lot of times she will replace tomato soup with the tomato paste and a tablespoon of honey. I've noticed. And that is it. We need to add 1 pound of chicken. That's it. Last one. So I have all 6 of them here on this baking sheet. I'm gonna go throw this in the freezer until they get hard, and then I can put them in the freezer however I like.
All right, y'all, for both our sakes, I hope these recipes turn out well. Like I said, go follow me on Instagram to see what I think about them. Also, the family freezer has a website. She has a VIP program, kind of where you can pay once a year and get access to all these different recipes. It's a really cool website where you can decide what recipes you want for that week, and it'll create playlists and labels and all that for you. I am going to try these recipes out and see how I like them. And if I really, really like them, I'm going to keep an eye on it to see if there's a Black Friday sale. If I could get that website for about 50 bucks for the year, I might go ahead and do that as a Christmas present to myself, just to see. But we need to make sure we like her meals before we go up and sign a bunch of money up for a program like that. So I hope this was helpful and delicious, and I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.